in the earliest times, when gods still walked among humans. The world was held together by a single thread, the eternal knot, the unending bond of fate. This thread bound life to death, sea to sky, and human freedom to the whims of the gods. Anyone who touched it would glimpse both their highest potential and their deepest downfall. The hero who would one day come to bear this bond was a young seafarer named Ovasios. He was no born king, nor a chosen prophet, but he was known for a quality the gods both feared and admired in equal measure: an unyielding stubbornness, paired with a heart that never broke a promise. It was for this reason that the Moirai, the three sisters of fate, looked to him in secret when the thread began to fray. For darkness was growing in those days. Far out in the storm-tossed waters, the sirens sang their death, arious melodies so beautiful that even the winds paused in awe. Their voices could bend any will, extinguish any soul, and tear men apart against the rocks as easily as children tear paper. They were the guardians of the island's curse, an ancient, forgotten temple where the Princess Evera, half divine and half human, was bound by the thread no one could break. Divara was both seductress and prisoner. She could see into men's desires and shape dreams that made them forget who they were. Many had sought her, all were lost. Around the island lay the remains of fallen heroes, shattered ships, rusted shields, and souls still singing in the depths, lost in the sirens' ecstatic play. But Ovasios did not break beneath their song. He melted wax, not for his ears, but over his heart, and had his men bind him to the mast with the only rope that could not be torn by even divine power, a fragment of the eternal, not stolen from time itself. Through screams and temptation, he heard the sirens' promises: riches, eternal peace, endless pleasure, forgotten love, but he answered only with a roar that made the sea tremble, a cry filled with both fury and truth: I choose my own fate. When he reached the island, Evara stood waiting. She had waited for him as she had waited for all the others. But her eyes, deeper than darkness and brighter than dawn, trembled when she saw the rope he carried. For in his hand lay the key to both her destinies: freedom or destruction. If he failed, the entire world, not just she, would be swallowed by chaos. Monsters guarded the temple's inner sanctum, lions with serpent tails, dead kings risen from their tombs, and birds whose wings carried disease. But Ovasios fought through them all, not with strength alone, but with cunning, courage, and a priceless ability to ignore the whisper of fear. At last, he stood before the oldest altar. Evera knelt there, half shadow, half star. He took the thread, wound it once around her hand, once around his own, and in that moment, the world fell silent. This would either bind them together for eternity, or tear them both out of time itself. And so, the epic says, the eternal knot was not sealed by gods, but by a human's resolve. A knot bound in love, in sacrifice, in defiance, so strong that even the sirens fell silent, and the storms learned to listen. Thus did the hero Ovasios become the first keeper of the knot. And ever since that day, it has chosen its own heirs. For fate cannot be escaped, but it can be faced. With a straight back, with an open heart, with a promise never broken,